What's up, everybody? Jason Cole here with RCGroups.com, and we've got another review for you. This is the Blade Scimitar 215 Pro. Now, this thing is a beast. It's designed for racers, for freestyle guys. It is very powerful. It is very complete, and I think you're gonna like it. I know I did. Let's start out with some of the specs here. So this is a 5-inch drone, and we call that, based on the prop size. So this comes with 3-blade, 5-inch props. They're really nice, very durable. We'll get into that later. And it weighs about 15.5 ounces or 440 grams all up. So it's a good weight. This thing is a serious drone. This is not a toy. It's not really a beginner's drone. This is something for guys that know how to fly, intermediate to expert pilots, and who really want to tear up the race course or freestyle with serious performance. This thing delivers. Motor-wise, we're running 2206 motors with 2450 kV. It's running 20 amp ESCs with BL Heli, and it comes with everything already built and pre-installed out of the box here. We've got the flight controller with Betaflight. Now, the nice thing about this is already tuned. It's expertly tuned. This thing feels locked in. I'll talk more about the flight in a minute. On the video transmission side, it's got a power selectable transmitter, so you can select 25 milliwatt, 200, or 600, depending on what you need, what you want to do, what races you're going to. And it comes with a really nice FPV camera. I believe it is a Swift 2 with a 2.3 millimeter lens on it. Spectrum style, so very nice. Things I like about the drone, just looking at it, it looks awesome. It's got this carbon fiber look plastic shell. It looks great. It protects all of the electronics. Looking at the frame itself, it's really thick. I think it's 4 millimeter carbon fiber arms with a nice carbon fiber frame. On the back of the shell, it's got LED lights, and they kind of flicker and change as the throttle increases. That's pretty cool looking. On top, we've got a little access window so we can see the video transmitter LED lights. And then there's a little two little push buttons that are accessible. You push down on the frame, and you can change the power setting on the transmitter. You can change the channels and band all right there without having to take anything off or get to it. We've got these antenna tubes that protect our antennas, which is really nice. And then it actually comes with this nice right-hand circular polarized FPV antenna, so you don't get one of those stock linear ones that most of the drones come with. You get a nice upgrade antenna out of the gate here. It's using XT60 connectors, and then they want you to use a 4S 1300 milliamp hour. You're probably going to want a high C discharge rate battery. I've got the Thrust series 65C. It's an HV 1300 milliamp hour 4S pack from Horizon is what they sent for this, and it works fantastic for this drone. Like I said before, the flight controller is Betaflight, so you've got a USB access port on the side here, and you can plug it up to your computer, adjust the parameters, do everything that you would do for a normal drone. But what I love about this thing is you don't have to do any of that. You can take it out of the box. Basically, the assembly is installing the props and throwing your antenna tubes on, binding it to your radio. You do want to read the manual. It's got all the instructions for how to set the model up on your radio if you're running a DX8 or 9 or whatever you've got. It tells you how to set the switches and the endpoint adjustments on whatever channels need to be changed. And then basically just push this button in, power it up, and bind it, and you're ready to go fly. There's literally not a lot to do. You can be ready to go in a matter of minutes. Once you get to the field, I say it was expertly tuned, and I gotta tell you, it did feel super locked in. We'll show you some flight footage here in a minute, but as I was flying around, it just felt right. It's kind of hard to describe what it feels like. It just did what I wanted it to do, and kind of the best thing I can say for that is I'm not a big racer. So I don't have a lot of like shooting really tight gaps and hitting gates and doing all this stuff. But the very first flight with the Scimitar, I was out flying around in and out of some trees, and I saw those two trees together, and they were really tight, and it was a pretty tight gap to get through. And normally I would just go around that and not even attempt it, but something happened in my brain. I saw it in the FPV feed, and I said I just knew I could do it. I went for it, shot right through the trees and made it, and it was like, man, holy cow, maybe it's the tune, I don't know, but it just felt locked in, doing everything that I wanted it to do, and it's really great. So you can do freestyle with it, you can do aerobatics, it's got air mode, acro mode, and like a angle mode where it'll do self-leveling, which I like to take off in angle mode because it kind of sits on the battery and plops over to one side, and when you put it to idle, arm the motors, the angle mode will make it exactly level, and it's kind of easy to take off if you're not on like a race gate start or something. It's real nice and easy. And then coming in for a landing, I like angle mode, just keep it level, guaranteed, and set it down. That's also really useful if something happens with your video feed, cuts out on you. You can hit it back to angle mode, goes flat, and just decrease the throttle slowly, and it's going to land nice and level for you. It's got options. I mean, it's great. So you've got transmitter options, you got flight mode options, the camera tilts up and down to your desired angle. And let's talk about durability while we're at it too, because if you're playing with these things, you're getting close, down low to the ground, you're also crashing. That's just part of it. And I did crash this quite a few times, just having fun, pushing my limits, flying through things, hitting trees, hitting the ground, going fast. And the only thing that really broke, what surprised me the most, I could say, is I didn't break a single prop. I bent a couple of the blades, bent them right back to true, still fly smoothly. I've got one like kind of nick or ding on a trailing edge of one of the props that I just used a pair of pliers and kind of flattened out, and it's still perfectly flyable and acceptable. I was really surprised I didn't break a single prop. But I did crack the canopy. And it's plastic, but it's supposed to be a resilient shell, and it's pretty hard and durable, and I'd say it's going to do a really good job of protecting electronics on the inside. So I got a crack on either side of the camera, and I'll show you a picture of that right here. So it did crack on me, but even with that crack, it's still perfectly functional for protection. You can't press it in, you can't do anything that's going to allow it to be damaging the insides. So even with that, that's not really that big of a deal, and honestly, I'm surprised I haven't broken anything else. Just that's racing. Things break, you crash, it happens. This thing is super tough. The really thick carbon fiber arms are holding up. The other thing I do like is you can get all the spare parts at Horizon Hobby, and then the arms are easily replaceable. It's a couple screws, and you're able to replace an arm if you do manage to break one at some point. It's not like you have to replace the whole frame. So anyway, it's a beast, man. I love this thing. It's so much fun. I really tried to think of something that I didn't like about it. I hate doing reviews that everything's just all hunky-dory. Honestly, I couldn't think of a single thing. The only thing that I really wished I would have had different on this was in the manual. They talk about the forward programming of the video transmitter and the flight control board, and there's no instructions on how to do that in the manual that comes with it. I'm sure that is all available online and easily accessible, but it would have been nice to have all of the functionality that's available on the drone in the manual. It's a pretty thin manual as it is, so they probably could have added that. But that's it. So I'm really surprised that I don't have any other faults. It's got just gobs of power, very aerobatic, but the thing that sets it apart for me is I didn't have to spend hours building it. I've done that for years, soldering, setting up all these flight control boards, doing all this stuff and tuning it. It's not very fun for me. I like to fly these things. I don't like to work on them. It's not like you're building a balsa airplane and putting all this time into it for something that pays off in how it looks. Building a drone is just mechanical, screwing nuts and bolts together, doing some soldering. It's okay, but if you don't want to do that like me, this is something you're going to want, because this is high-end, high-quality. It's got all the right components, and the performance is there. It's going to be really competitive on the racing. You're going to have a lot of fun doing freestyle with it. It's ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to touch anything. Put the props on it. Go fly. So anyway, the Scimitar 215 Pro from Blade. It's available at Horizon Hobby. I do have lots of pictures and a lot more information in the full review that's online at RCGroups.com. I'll have that link in the description so you guys can go check that out. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button. We love hearing from you. If you've got any comments, let us know. And we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll catch you on the next video.